And James Grande.
What is going on, everybody? John Impemba here with Colby, Conway, filling in for James Grande once again. This is the MLB DFS Playbook Show here, breaking down the 6-game Thursday slate. Colby, my friend, man, how are we doing?
Doing good. It's an exciting day, to say the least. Got a lot of good sports on. We got a little football game tonight, but of course, 6 games. And unfortunately for Adam Wainwright, who we're going to talk about, he's in a bad spot here going up against Atlanta with the winds blowing out. So I'm doing better than Adam Wainwright, at least.
Yeah, you'll be doing a lot better than Adam Wainwright here. And, we get a little baseball appetizer leading into NFL kickoff. Lions, Chiefs kickoff at 8:20. We'll have some baseball games starting tonight. I think it was at 6:40, I think is the first game here this evening. So some early baseball fun. You can get your plays in, get your DFS lineup set for baseball, and then start your journey towards the NFL Ironman. You play the showdown slate tonight, play a $1 entry across the season, and you can come out with some nice crowns and tier credits for you over with their Ironman stuff. But before we get into, of course, the DraftKings main slate, FanDuel slate, whichever you're playing on there, DePrince is in. I know he's a FanDuel player. We'll get to all of that. We got a shout out to our friends over at rtsports.com. Go to rtsports.com/alarm. Use promo code alarm23 when you sign up. New users get a 100% deposit match up to $200. You can take part in their DFS Pick'em contest, or still, I think they may. I guess I should have checked if they still have any availability in their fantasy football championships or not yet, because season hasn't started yet. It looks like they do have draft times still available all the way until kickoff on Sunday. 10 a.m. is their last draft Sunday morning. So you have a shot at $500,000 grand prize with the RT Sports Fantasy Football Championship contest. So go to rtsports.com/alarm, promo code alarm23. Again, take advantage of that deposit match offer. It is time for our RT Sports DFS Pick'em Plays of the Day. Taking a look at the RT Sports Pick'em board here, Colby, where are we going with our first play today?
First one is going to be Julio Rodriguez, more than 1.5 total bases. Simply put, he's got an OPS north of 1,200 over his last 10 games, going up against Zach Little, who, albeit a righty, has problems with right-handed hitters, allowing a 305 average and a 357 WOBA to right-handed hitters. Julio Rodriguez and the rest of the Mariners offense in line for a big day.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of that for sure. I gave out basically everything. I said play the board for Julio Rodriguez during the Better Sports Betting Show. So all in on the more than 1.5 total bags here. The other play I was a big fan of, I actually gave out his home run prop on the Better Sports Betting Show. That's Mookie Betts. So we're going to rock the over 1.5 total bags for Mookie Betts going up against Braxton Garrett. Mookie Betts' numbers against left-handed pitching this year are off the charts. He has a 400 ISO. He's an 1,100 OPS. He's got a 700 slugging percentage, a weighted on base over 400. I mean, just ridiculous numbers for Mookie Betts against lefties. So we have 2 absolute stud outfielders here on the board tonight, taking more than their 1.5 total bags. Gives you an opportunity to 3x your money. Colby, do you have any other plays for us here today?
I like those 2. Just going with those 2. If you're going to add a third, I've already said that I've been better than Adam Wainwright. I do like Matt Olson's fantasy points. I believe it's at 7.
Yep,
7. So I like them more on that one if you're looking to add a third.
I'm in on that as well. So the 3-pick play here, more than 7 fantasy points for Matt Olson. Mookie Betts more than 1.5 total bases, and Julio Rodriguez more than 1.5 total bases. That gives you an opportunity to 6x your money this evening here with the DFS Pick'em baseball slate over at RT Sports. Again, if you haven't yet signed up, go to rtsports.com/alarm, promo code alarm23. New users will get that 100% deposit match up to $200. Colby, let's switch gears here. Let's go ahead and take a look at tonight's slate over on the DraftKings board here. Pulling it up quickly. Computer moving slow. Here we go. 6 games on tap here. Seattle, Tampa Bay, LA versus Miami, Detroit versus New York, St. Louis versus Atlanta, Arizona versus Chicago, and Cleveland versus LA close it out. Again, starting tonight at 6:40 on the board. Pitching, as we discussed, Luis Castillo is at $11K. Max Fried's at $96. Eddie Rodriguez is at $91. The top 3 guys over $9,000. When we did the podcast myself and Mark Pitts. This morning, we looked at Castillo. We liked him. 11K is expensive on a small slate. Do you find yourself getting there today?
Biggest thing that worries me with him, I think Servo said it on the sports betting show as well, is he's not a good guy on the road. The struggles have been there for him. He's a notorious guy at home. And honestly, like looking at the slate when it comes to the hitters, simply put, I think I have a champagne budget or a champagne taste without that sort of budget, as we just talked about 3 hitters in the RT sports that are all 6K plus. So with the builds I've been going with, I haven't really gotten to Castillo, but I haven't been too afraid by it. His home road splits scare me. He's one that I haven't gotten right much this year. So at least for my lineups, I don't think I'm going to have much Castillo.
Yeah, definitely some struggles there with power against lefties as well. Then you cope in the road splits. And Tampa Bay, they have Josh Lowe, they have Brandon Lau, guys like that can do some damn. Luke Raley, Isaac Paredes has been unreal this season. A lot of guys that can do some damage in that lineup with some power numbers. So I'm with you. If you want to spend up for these bats, especially again, Atlanta at home, windy, warm against Wainwright, you can't really afford an 11K pitcher. So where do you find yourself looking to start your pitching builds here this evening?
I think it starts at Fried. Great chance for a win. He's got a good offense backing him to get plenty of run support. St. Louis, not as good as lefties as you'd expect. And if you look at like the BBP numbers from the heart of that order in St. Louis with Arenado and Goldie, they have not hit Max Fried well for their career. So if you're going to pay up for pitcher, I think you're going to do it for one of them. I'm saving a little bit off Castillo. I think Max Fried's my top starter of the night.
I like it. Again, he's been really good since coming back into that rotation as well after dealing with the injuries. The next tier, though, I think gets a little interesting. I don't think we're really in on Eddie Rodriguez versus the Yankees. The Yankees have been killing left-handed pitching. You have is this Pepio? How do we? I thought it looked like Pepio, but it was kind of weird. Good numbers for him fantasy point wise: 16, 17, and 18 fantasy points. He hasn't been going overly deep in games, but he has been limiting the runs. Miami's been really good against lefties. This is a righty matchup. They don't have Jorge Soler anymore. I gravitated towards him in this spot, but the money line for LA is kind of average here. So what are your thoughts?
Yeah, the Miami, despite not being like a overly prolific offense, there's still some spots that I like in that lineup against Pepio. They just don't strike out against righties. At least of late, they're not striking out. But I mean, really for Pepio, if he's going to go 5 innings, my thoughts are he's in a pretty good spot for a win. Once he gets that 15th out, he should have plenty of runs going for him. And he's done it in 2 of his last 3 as you look there. So I like his chances for a win. Can he get 3 to 4 strikeouts? I mean, he's done it in 3 in a row there. So
I like that the pitch count's on the rise too. 84
Yes.
pitches in his last outing is encouraging that maybe we get 90 out of him today.
Yeah, and he's done a great job commanding the walk. So he's not going to hurt himself with if he is even on a limited pitch count come 85, 90 pitches. So yeah, in that next tier, I think it's Pepio, because when you look at it, I want no part of Braxton Garrett. He's on the worst side of his splits and faces LA, which crushes lefty. So good luck there. I can't do Carlos Rodon. I'm so over this roller coaster with him. Yeah. I'm so done with it. I understand if you want to do it, because 7,500 for a guy with his kind of stuff. I mean, he has a 7 strikeout game across 4.
He's been like innings. A little better lately-ish. I mean, he had 1 strikeout against Washington. Washington doesn't strike out against anybody, but did allow just 1 earned. He hasn't allowed more than 2 earned in any of the last 3, facing some pretty tough opponents. The thing is, Detroit has some guys starting to heat up a little bit here. I think Rodon is going to be very popular tonight because the rest of this pitching is kind of trash. And the Yankees do hit lefties pretty well. So I think people are going to be looking at New York as a spot to go. We also just got an Arizona lineup. After leaving last night's game, Corbin Carroll is actually leading off tonight. So, we weren't sure if after getting hit on the wrist and he left with a contusion, if he was going to play tonight. He is playing tonight. So now you have Javier Assad, who's been pitching really well, but I would have liked it a lot more if Corbin Carroll wasn't in the lineup. He is in the lineup tonight. So, it makes me not – I still may find myself tempting to go to Assad because of the options that are on the board, but got a little bit more difficult for him with Carroll now leading off.
It did. The winds are blowing in at Wrigley too. It looks like it's going to be like for game time. So that was probably the spot. If Corbin Carroll was not going to play, he was probably going to be my preferred SP2 because the 3 guys beneath him, the 4 guys beneath him, I'm interested in stacking against.
Well, that's what it is, right? I mean, after Assad, you have Little, Ryan Nelson, Cal Quantrill, Adam Wainwright, and Daniel here. Making his debut, it looks like. Daniel getting called up from AAA. So 6 rehab starts. Who knows how many innings he's going to end up throwing here. But, you'd think, 4K pitcher, though. James and I have been throwing some 4K pitchers on a slate like this. Would you consider a 4K pitcher here just to punt the salary and get those hitters in your lineup?
I mean, if you can tell me that it gets me Julio Rodriguez, Mookie Betts, and Matt Olson, I'm all ears. I'm all ears for it.
He's been pretty good, but he's only been pitching at high A for his rehab. Been really good at high A, though. So that's interesting. Interesting that he is going to get this start because we've been going at Cleveland, most of this year here. So maybe Davis Daniel is worth a complete dart throw to help you spend down. Because anytime you can throw a 4K starter out there, help you save some money.
Yeah, and when you look at it too, in those 6 starts at high A, 37 strikeouts and a sub-1 whip across 25 and a third innings. That's the only thing that might be a little bit interesting is how deep can he actually go?
Yeah, I'm trying to pull up some game logs here from AAA or from his minor league outings rather to see.
Okay, so his last 3, he went 5 innings, 6 innings, 5 and a third. So I mean, there's at least a little bit here. Let me pull up his last 2 and see what we're looking at pitch-wise count. So Davis Daniel in that one, 6 innings, 2 hits, no earned runs, 6 strikeouts, got to 73 pitches.
Okay.
And then the most recent one, 5 and a third, 4 runs, 3 earned, 10 strikeouts. He got to 92.
All right, so he should be stretched out enough. It's just whether or not he is a quality enough pitcher at the major league level, right? He's got a near 4 ERA over the course of his minor league career. Hasn't yet pitched at the major league level. Last year, AAA, he had a 4.5 ERA in 21 starts, only 83 strikeouts and 102 innings. But obviously now rehabbing at high A, he's found a lot more success. So lower caliber of competition, but they are calling him up today because they are desperate for starting pitching. So it's either going to go one way or the other. You're like rostering Cleveland tonight against this guy, or you're saving the money and playing him in your lineups.
That's the only way to do it. It's going to be interesting. I think what will end up happening is we'll do a build, whatever it ends up being, and then we'll try one with him and just see if it can get us a 3-headed monster in the offensive side of things.
I agree. All right, let's move on over to catcher here. You mentioned you like stacking. Will Smith does get the lefty at $5,500. Cal Raleigh homered last night, $4,500 against Little. Darno actually in the lineup tonight over Murphy at 42 against Adam Wainwright. Talking about the top 3 price catchers, do you have any strong leans towards one versus the other?
Am I crazy to really, really, really like Raleigh tonight?
No, I love Cal Raleigh. I think he's in a great spot.
Absolutely. I mean, look at the numbers of the last 10, good average. The OPS is there. And, we talked about it in the RT Sports thing, but Zach Little reverse splits, even though Raleigh hits lefties, or Raleigh hits both, but
yeah,
he's in a good spot nonetheless. When you look at Raleigh's numbers over his last 40 plate appearances against right-handed pitching, 935 OPS. And off the top of your head, do you know how many of his 26 homers have come against right-handed pitching this year?
24.
Oh, pretty good. 23.
Close.
23 of 26 homers this year against right-handed pitching. Little can be beat by righties and lefties. So of those top 3, I really, really, really like Cal Raleigh.
Yeah, you're saving $1,000 from Will Smith at the top, and a couple more $100 from Darno, who does obviously hit in the middle of that lineup against Wainwright. But Cal Raleigh hitting third. You like the Seattle team total over. We ran on J-Rod. So I mean, anytime you have a catcher with 30+ home run upside, that's Cal Raleigh's super appealing to me as well. When we look down at the value range here, I don't mind O'Hop against Quantrill. Moreno, if he's in the lineup against the side, maybe a little bit tough given the matchup, but he's been hitting the ball really well. Jake Rogers hitting cleanup against Rodon here. Anybody else at catcher for you in the value or mid-tier, or do you just find yourself plugging in Raleigh and moving on?
Other than Raleigh, the other one I kind of consider, I hope you'll let me count him as value, but
sure.
Yan Gomes, he's actually hit righties really well despite being the notorious left-handed guy.
Sure.
In terms of hitting those guys, but 667 OPS over his last 10 games, and he's actually hit righties quite well. And I believe over the last 2 weeks, he's hitting 300 plus when you look at it. So if 3,200 save a little bit, you can go Yan Gomes. Even with the wind blowing in, I like the Cubs to put up some runs.
I can 100% get there. To Prince, question here on Bellinger as we move over to first base. Hits, runs, and RBIs 1.5 tonight. I got this matchup against Arizona and Ryan Nelson. I'm in. Ryan Nelson's trash. So if you want to go belly with the hits, runs, and RBIs tonight as part of your props there, totally okay with me getting there for sure. But the question is, Colby, do you find yourself looking to spend up for $6,300 for Cody Bellinger when Matt Olson's $100 cheaper on this slate against Adam Wainwright?
DFS lineups, I'm going with Olsen, but I locked in that Bellinger 1.5 hits, runs, RBIs myself already over on PrizePicks for the action over there. So I like both. I really like both tonight to kind of not bury the lead here, but I'm going Olsen. I'm going to save $100 to go there. And I would expect Olsen's ownership to probably be higher, be a little bit more popular just because it is the Braves and it's the Adam Wainwright narrative.
Yeah.
I feel like we're getting to that point. It's like happy Adam Wainwright day. I feel like we're starting to get to that point. Like he just gets abused every time he goes out there for the most part. But in DFS lineups, I'm locking in a Olsen, but for the record, I do really like Cody Bellinger.
Yeah, I'm with you there as well. Where are we going next?
At first base?
Yeah.
If we keep going down, I mean, I hate to keep, banging the drum for the same guy, but Nolan Schanuel just continues to do it. And Cal Quantrill, I know he was okay in his return the last time he came, or I believe it was his first start back from injury.
Yeah.
He's not good.
No.
Like, he's just not good. You can play Schanuel. He's a fantasy points machine. You can see there, again, the ceiling may not be overly high, but 310, 5.6, he's still only 3,400. So if we get 7 points, we're getting 2x value. So we like that. So he's one that I like. And then down a little bit, I wish he was hitting a little bit higher, but Mike Ford, he's hitting well. He's seeing the ball well, little stinks. And, I mean, Ford's got 4 homers in his last 10 games. So
1,100 OPS, 700 slug, last 10 feels pretty nice for the $3,200 first baseman.
And it just fits the Mariners narrative. So You got me there.
Agree with you there. I would also take a look there at Torkelson at 47. I think there's a good spot for him. Power against Rodon there in the Yankee Stadium feels pretty nice. So, but Olsen for sure the top guy, and Chanel is some value. Feels pretty good. Again, if you're not playing Daniel, Josh Naylor could certainly be a guy that can, we know the power. He was on pace to lead the league in RBIs before he went on the IL. So some thump in that Cleveland lineup that doesn't really have much, but he was it when he was healthy. So Josh Naylor against Daniels here could be a spot as well in the mid tier, just $4,300. So I do like that one also. Yep. Second base position here. We tied in Mookie Betts. If I can find a way to get Mookie Betts in my lineup tonight, this is where I'm going. I talked about it the other day. You have Acuna, always a capable play against Wainwright. Mookie Betts, always a capable play. I mean, how are you deciding between Mookie and Acuna tonight? Because they both just have ridiculously good spots.
Put Mookie at second and Acuna in the outfield.
Try to fit them both.
I mean, that's pretty much it. I mean, Mookie has a 7.16 slug and a 4.10 ISO against left-handed pitching this year, and Braxton Garrett's on the wrong side of his split. So
yeah,
good luck to him tonight. And Mookie's got 2 homers and 4 at-bats against him. So there's also...
We would have $4,500 a player needing 2 starting pitchers as well. So we would have to figure it out. We probably could make it work if we use the 4K starter. But just something to keep in mind there as we toy around with some lineup builds for the later on portion of the show. After Mookie Betts, where are your second base targets coming from?
You can look at Ozzie Albies, go up against him against Adam Wainwright. If you go down a little bit more, I like Glaber again. He's in a good spot there against Eduardo Rodriguez. Yankees are pretty reliable against lefties, I would say. And then just beneath him, Brandon Lau's got an OPS over 1,000 versus right-handed pitching over the last 2 weeks, and that's covering nearly 40 plate appearances. I'll call that a good enough sample size. So that's something to consider at 4,400. And then Brandon Drury, 3 hits last night, 964 OPS against righties over the last 2 weeks. 3 straight double-digit DraftKings days. So if you're anti-Cal Quantrill, you'll probably be looking towards Drury.
Yeah, I really like Drury in the middle of that lineup there for the Angels. Again, people look at them like no Ohtani, no Trout. They kind of ignore them, but certainly capable of still hitting for power in that lineup for sure. Amador Rosario is someone that hits lefties pretty well. If you're not going the Mookie Betts route, he's got second and short eligibility. If you're going Mookie Betts in the outfield, you can play Amador Rosario here hitting cleanup at $4,100. That feels pretty good. Josh Rojas is hitting 9th, which just means right behind him is Crawford and Julio Rodriguez. Nothing wrong with that. He's $3,700 there for some value. Anybody else for value for you? Any interest in Indy Ibanez at $2,400?
He's solid against lefties. I wouldn't be opposed to looking at him. Numbers are half decent over the last 2 weeks. The one, I think, if you're not going Pepio, Xavier Edwards has just put up fantasy points. I mean, there's nothing really more to say. 357 average. I mean, sure, it's only an average like 5.5 a game or so, but he's putting the ball in play. He's getting on base, and $2,700. If you're paying for a lot of studs, he might just be a value option for you. And I think he's hitting 7th. Yeah.
So hitting 7th tonight.
Something to look at.
Cool. Third base. Yeah, Jose Ramirez again against his Daniels kid coming up from the minor leagues. Then he got some Arenado gets freed, as you mentioned. BDP not great. Muncy gets to the lefty, not our usual spot. Christopher Morel hitting ninth is kind of interesting against Ryan Nelson because, again, the power for Morel a lot against righties this year. They continue just to move him all around the lineup, so not really worried about hitting ninth. He's homered from every single spot in the lineup here this season. So I do think Morel at $4,800 is kind of interesting. We've discussed Paredes and the Castillo home run issues that he's had. Eugenio Suarez, we talked little with the power against righties or giving up power against righties. We know Suarez is a big-time power hitter. So how are you breaking down the third base slate today?
Yeah, third base is an interesting one. If you don't go Pepio, I do like Jake Berger. He's been pretty good against righties over the last 2 weeks with the ISO just over 200. Pepio is a little bit of a reverse split. So I think Jake Berger is interesting. This is probably the toughest position for me on this slate, to be honest, because we don't get, I believe Austin Riley is out of the lineup.
Yeah, not in there.
Yep. So we don't get him, and he would have been the clear cut top play,
right,
for the record. And then you go down a little bit there at third base. I mean, do you go back to old reliable with Mike Moustakas against Cal Quantrill? It's on the board. You could go Matt Vierling leading off if you want to attack Carlos Rodon.
Yeah, we talked TK Hernandez on the show this morning, rather. Again, I know recent numbers haven't been great. He's been a little bit better since going to the Dodgers, but a guy that has historically hit lefty as well, and he's $3,100.
Yep. He does have the track record against southpaws, that's for sure. So,
any other third baseman for you?
No, this position was weak. I did not like this position, to be fair.
Katie and Chad, don't forget about the underdog team, Minnesota Twins. If they were on this slate, we would play them. You know that. This show does not shy away from playing the Minnesota Twins. That is for sure. Shortstop here. Swanson's your top price guy, but I mentioned we both like Seattle. So Crawford leading off at 4,700 feels like a great option. Arcia continues to mash. Again, he's got Waino at 41. Mentioned Rosario already. Volpe hits lefties really well at 38. So some good options at shortstop here.
Absolutely. And obviously Rengifo, he just keeps hitting too. Gotta throw him out there. And obviously Hernandez has shortstop eligibility as well. So when you look at shortstop, this position to me, I don't know if we're as much picking the player if we're picking an add-on to whatever team we're stacking.
Sure.
That's what this position really feels like. So I think this one, at least how I've seen my builds, I'm not really making a position or a decision at shortstop. Right. I'm basically letting the rest of my lineup decide my shortstop for me. Right.
And we mentioned Rengifo last night. I didn't even mean to overskip him, but he did homer. 2 for 4 again, another 2-hit game, 3 2-hit games over the last 4 for him. He's got, what is this, like a 9-game hit streak, 10-game hit streak going? 14 games, up to 14 games now for Luis Rengifo. So very viable option.
He has 5 homers in his last 33 plate appearances against righties.
Yeah.
Pretty good.
He's again, Angels team. Don't sleep on him just because there's no Trout or Ohtani. They have some guys that are doing damage.
Well, or Anthony Rendon. Put some respect on his name.
Yeah. He doesn't even want to talk anymore. So that guy is just sitting at home and collecting that paycheck. So, which, hey, you know what? Yeah, it's the MLB. You have a union to defend you there. Outfield here. Again, we talked Acuna bets. If you can fit them in your lineup, play them. If you can fit them both, good luck. If you had to pick one, sure. But how does Julio, Betts, and Acuna fit into your decision-making process here tonight?
I honestly, I think Julio and Mookie are my 2 favorite.
Okay.
Actually, and I mean, it's not really a knock against Acuna. It's more like these are like options 1A, 1B, and 1C.
I agree with you. I don't think you can go wrong with either of them. Price-wise, obviously, you save a couple $100 at Julio Rodriguez. Maybe that helps him fit into your builds a little bit better. But yeah, pretty stout top group there. All 3 of them for me are very much in lineups. You can go Judge if you want, obviously struggling a little bit, but always has power. We discussed Bellinger at first base, certainly going to be in on him. Corbin Carroll is playing tonight. I don't know if it's an auto play, but you know how good he's been, and it's in Chicago, so there's a little boost to them there. When they're going under 5K, which names are sticking out to you?
Under 5K, let's see. Obviously, I like Michael Harris hitting 7. I kind of, as odd as it is, I kind of wish he was hitting 9th.
Sure.
Just to move down and be at the wraparound there. Yep. Rengifo, obviously, we talked about him a little bit. I really like Seiya Suzuki, too. If you're going to go with Cubs, like you're going to go Bellinger and you're going to put some of those other Cubs in, maybe like an Ian Happ, Suzuki's been really good of late. 692 slug over the last 10. I know he was a focal point in the playbook today and gets a good matchup against Ryan Nelson. So he's one to look at. Also want to go back to shortstop just because we missed one. I think that might be an auto play and it'll help us with our budget. But if we got the full Arizona lineup, right?
We did.
Did Jordan Lawler crack it
For
his debut?
Let me see here.
Because if so, I mean, that's a $2,000 shortstop that we can.
Yeah, I'm trying to pull it up. I just saw the lineup. Let's see here. Should have just have it on my computer already, but I don't have it on my phone. Let's see.
I think he said okay. I think
is he in? You got him? You got him in?
September 7th. That's today, right? Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, this says 8th with Carroll leading off. And
love it.
Ryan Nelson and Assad. So, yeah.
Well, there you go. Yeah, Jordan Lawler was a good call. I forgot. Honestly, I forgot to call him up last night. So, easy play.
Yep. There's
your hit that button. If we do Jordan Lawler with Betts and J-Rod, that gives us a $5K a play. Again, we got to figure out where we're going to go for the rest of the position, but could certainly fill in a couple of top price plays here. So
for sure. And then some other outfielders. I mean, I
like Ozuna. I like Ozuna out at the top. We talked about him. Luke Raley's got some power against Castillo. Where else are you looking?
Jason Dominguez. Yeah. I mean, he's not stopping.
We knew the home run was coming at some point. So.
Right. Why not do it again? Let's do it again. Let's get some more fancy points. And I mean, he's just produced every single game, so you got to look at him. Sanchez is in a good spot there against Pepio if you want to look at some Miami bats, if you're on that side of the fence.
Chris Taylor hits lefties, $3,200.
Yep. And then Mickey Moniak's got good BVP, but the numbers haven't been there all that much of late. So that's just more if you're going to go contrarian with a full-blown Angel stack, you could look to Mickey Moniak.
Sure. The Prince wants to know Eddie Rosario. Yeah, all Braves are in play today. So you can 100% play Eddie Rosario, Marcell Ozuna, Ronald Acuna, d'Arnaud, Arcia, Albies, you name them. They're in play. Wainwright, warm weather in Atlanta, wind blowing out. Team total today was what? 5.5, 6.5? I had it written down earlier. Let me grab it quick here.
I think the over-under was 10.5. That might have just been Atlanta's side, though. I'm not sure.
I was going to say Braves team total today. 6.5. I thought it was 6.5. I want to confirm. So the Braves team total is 6.5. It was 7.5 in Coors. It's 6.5 tonight in Atlanta. So
happy Adam Wainwright day.
Take that for what it is there. Tyler O'Neill, listen, he hits lefties really well, but we're in on Max Fried tonight. So probably a no for me tonight, the Prince, just because we like Max Fried. So, and Max Fried would be your FanDuel starter today. We'd play him over Luis Castillo. So just for that, I know you play on FanDuel. So, all right, give me your home run call today, Colby.
Julio Rodriguez.
Easy enough. I'm going to go Mookie. Again, called that out on the Better Sports Betting Show, so I'll stay consistent with that. He was plus 290 to homer tonight, so we're in. BC coming in. Atlanta's bad boy could probably hit a dinger against Wainwright tonight. Probably true. I don't know who their bat boy is, but I would agree with you. Probably can go yard. All right, I'm in agreement with you. We're probably both in Atlanta for the top stack. What's your alt stack from Atlanta tonight?
They're probably not too much of a contrarian, but I'll say probably Seattle would be up there. And if it's not them, if we're a little more contrarian, I'll go Cubs. Okay, yeah, I think the Cubs are probably a good one. I'm feeling LA. We listed off a couple of guys for LA that could do some damage here tonight. So I'm going to go the Angels as a low rostered stack tonight to be a little different from the field. But again, our favorite team stacks for tonight. In no particular order, and it's probably going to be pretty obvious to a lot of you anyways. Atlanta, Seattle, LA, the Dodgers, that is. Those three for sure. Chicago, we like against Ryan Nelson, certainly an option. And if you want to be a little different, stacking against the 11K pitcher in a short slate, not always the worst idea either. So if Luis Castillo starts to play the home run game in Tampa Bay tonight and you have Luke Raley or Isaac Paredes or somebody in your lineup at 1 or 2%, that's enough to put you over the top on these smaller slates. So if you play a couple of lineups tonight, you want to just throw one against Castillo, go for it. I think if it comes out, you could make yourself some money here this evening. All right, let's build a lineup. We got Lawler in there already. We try maybe Mookie at second and J-Rod in the outfield and see where we go from here. We have $49.97. We liked Fried. That would give us a $4,200 needing another pitcher.
So let's find the value. Where are we going? Chanel, I guess, would be one.
Yeah, or Mike Ford.
Oh,
They're
Ford.
about
I like Ford. We like
$200.
Seattle. We like Seattle, so Ford works for me. Two outfielders, a catcher. You mentioned Yan Gomes. Excuse me.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, I don't think we're gonna have enough juice to get up to Cal Raleigh, so it's probably Gomes territory.
Well, I mean, we'll see. I mean, Cal Raleigh's 43. We'd have to find some cheap outfielders. You mentioned Edwards. We're not playing Pepio here, so if you wanted to go in that direction, Chris Taylor's $3,200. Could go Chris Taylor here. Connects with bets.
Yeah, I wouldn't. Yeah, I don't mind that.
Let's see.
Do you want to go Jackson?
Was 35. All right, we're getting closer. We're getting closer to an SV2. What was our thoughts on an SV2? Was it Assad?
Well, we have Lawler. Lawler kind of threw that off.
We do. So what did we do? We did Pepio. We had somebody going against him. We didn't. So $2,300 third baseman. We're just shy with Cal Raleigh. So we'll have to move off Cal.
All right. So drop to Jan.
Yeah, drop to Jan. Does that get us? Are we close to Eugenio? Suarez is 43. What can we do to get the Eugenio? 25. Do we have a 2,500?
Worst comes to worst, you go back to Gomes, and third base we go Moustakas.
I like Moustakas. Let's do
that. That fits.
Let's do that. Let's go Moustakas here. Does Taylor have multi? He doesn't. He used to have, I think, third. But all right. So Moose is loose, and that gives us Yanni. There we go. Look at that example lineup for everybody with Max Fried, Ryan Pepio, Yan Gomes, Mike Ford, Mookie Betts, Mike Moustakas, Jordan Waller, Julio Rodriguez, Chris Taylor, and Jasson Dominguez. A couple of two-man stacks getting it done here for this slate this evening. Just 6 games on the board. Did you want to do anything else here, Colby? Did you want to see what we could do with a 4K starter?
Yeah, might as well probably take out Pepio.
Yeah, take out Pepio, go down to Daniel. Gives us $4,500. That's already with Betts and Rodriguez in. So we can definitely get Cal Raleigh. We can get anybody we want at this point. We can move off Chris Taylor. We're so close to getting Aaron. How can we get Aaron Judge, Mookie Betts, and Julio Rodriguez in a lineup tonight? Probably means we go back off of Cal Raleigh, sadly, as much as we like Cal Raleigh, but it can get us done. Go right back to
Was there any third baseman under Moustakas? I know he was 36.
Probably. Let me see. Cal Raleigh.
Was there a 32 guy?
32, third baseman. Kike. That plays. $100 left over.
Acuna, Rodriguez, and Betts. You got to love it.
Here we go. If you use Davis Daniel here, your min price starting pitcher tonight with Max Fried, you get Cal Raleigh, Mike Ford, Julio Rodriguez, 3-man Seattle. You get Mookie Betts and Kike Hernandez. Paul's in here saying the screen's a little blurry. It could just be it's not zoomed in enough. I'll kind of throw that up a little bit closer for you. Let me know if that's any better for you, Paul. The resolution showing it up a little bit more to get the screen in full view for you. But we got Fried, Daniel, Raleigh, Ford, Betts, Kike Hernandez, Jordan Waller, Julio Rodriguez, Ronald Acuna, and Jasson Dominguez. That is giving you a 3-man spend up, a little Dodger stack. Some exposure, Seattle stack as well. Some exposure to our top priced hitters on the board using the 4K starters. So that's an example here. I'm telling you, that's not bad.
It's better than I thought it would be.
That is not. You know what? I'm going to play that. I'll play both lineups that we have here this evening because I think that one's got some potential here. So that's a look tonight at 6 games. Tomorrow we'll be back full 11-game slate on board. So be on the lookout for that. A lot still going on here. I'll be back live 7 to 8 o'clock tonight with Andrew Cooper to talk Thursday Night Football Showdown, breaking down the slates of early start sits, though. If you haven't already liked and subscribed to the channel here, do that. Get the notifications for when we go live. We have about 35 football shows that can go on across the week and will be available to you guys, getting you ready for the NFL DFS and fantasy football seasons. And, of course, the MLB show comes live to you every day at 5 o'clock Eastern. Colby, Conway, John Impemba, we will catch you guys later.